Wealth starts in your mind long before it shows in your life. Thinking like a millionaire. The hidden key to wealth is about one thing: changing the way you think so you can finally change the way you live. This isn't a book filled with hype or unrealistic promises. It's a straight, clear, and practical guide to developing the mindset that helps real people create real results. Most people struggle not because they're not working hard, but because their thinking is stuck in survival. They've never been taught how to think like someone building something valuable. That changes now. If you've ever felt frustrated, tired of falling behind, or stuck repeating the same habits, this is your reset. This audiobook is your step-by-step guide to rewiring the way you think so your actions finally match your goals. It's not about luck, it's not about talent, it's about how you think. And that's the hidden key to wealth. Chapter 1. Think like winning is your only real option. If you want to live a rich life, rich in money, rich in growth, rich in peace, then you've got to stop thinking like you have all the time in the world to figure things out. You don't. The clock is ticking. The world doesn't pause for anyone. If you're serious about wealth, then you've got to rewire your mind until winning becomes the only path you see, not one option among many, not something you'll get around to, the only option. When you think like a winner, you stop waiting for the perfect conditions, you stop hesitating, you stop asking if you're ready. Winners don't need perfect, they need progress. That's the difference between the average thinker and the millionaire thinker. One waits, the other moves. One needs approval, the other gives themselves permission. One looks around, the other looks forward. See, it's easy to say you want more. It's easy to read books and listen to motivation. What's not easy is cutting off everything in your mind that keeps you small. Doubt, delay, excuses. You've got to kill those things. Every day. That's the real mental work. Thinking like a millionaire doesn't mean just thinking about money. It means you think with clarity, you think with confidence, you think with direction. You stop second-guessing yourself. You stop talking like someone who's unsure. You start acting like someone who knows exactly where they're going and why they're going there. Most people are afraid to think like winners because they're scared of what it takes. They're scared to let go of old habits. They're scared of judgment. They're scared to outgrow the people around them. And that fear keeps them stuck. You can't afford to live in fear if wealth is your goal. You can't afford to keep people around who don't push you to grow. You can't afford to keep thinking like the version of you that's always behind. Wealth starts with thinking different, then doing different, then becoming different. Every time you say, "I'll try," you leave room for failure. But when you say, "I will," you train your brain to take full responsibility. You stop blaming. You stop waiting for someone else to fix things. That's the mindset of a winner. That's the kind of thinking that builds wealth, real wealth, because it comes from ownership, from focus, from commitment. Now, ask yourself honestly, how many times have you talked yourself out of something you know you should have done? How many times did you stay quiet when you should have spoken up? How many times did you stop when it started to get hard? That's the gap. That's where your growth is hiding. Millionaire thinking lives in the moments when you say, "No more, no more excuses, no more waiting. No more blaming the system. No more feeling sorry for yourself. The only way forward is through." That's how winners think. You don't need to be perfect. You need to be serious. You need to be consistent. Every single day, you should wake up and ask yourself, am I thinking like someone who's moving forward or someone who's falling behind? That one question will tell you everything you need to know. If you're scrolling for hours, if you're talking more than you're doing, if you're still hoping for luck instead of building your own, then you're not thinking like a winner. You're thinking like someone who's stuck in the same cycle that's been holding them back for years. Millionaire thinking is not magic. It's not a secret. It's structure, it's mental toughness, it's personal discipline, it's asking hard questions, it's being brutally honest with yourself. It's choosing to focus on what matters, even when it's uncomfortable. You know what's easy? Quitting, making excuses, blaming others, staying the same. That's easy. But what has that ever built? What has that ever fixed? You've got to be stronger than your comfort. If you want to grow, you've got to stretch your thoughts. You've got to look in the mirror and say, this version of me can't take me where I want to go. And then you've got to act like the next version already lives inside you, because it does. You just haven't brought it out yet. When you start thinking like a winner, you stop getting emotional about every small setback. You understand that results come from action, not feelings. You start showing up even when it's hard. You start valuing your time like it's the most expensive thing you own, because it is. You stop wasting hours on things that make you feel busy and start doing things that actually move your life forward. That's how millionaires think. They protect their time, they protect their peace, they protect their focus. You've got to get serious about what you allow in your head. Most people are poor because their mind is full of trash, distractions, opinions, doubt, drama. You've got to clean that up. If it doesn't push you, teach you, or grow you, it doesn't belong. Every thought you entertain shapes your next step. Every voice you listen to either builds your confidence or breaks it. Thinking like a millionaire means you guard your mind like your future depends on it, because it does. Start talking to yourself with strength. Start thinking about your time like it's running out, because it is. Start treating your goals like they're urgent. Not someday, today, this hour, this moment. Winners don't need perfect plans, they need powerful habits. They show up when they're tired, they work when they're uncertain. They move forward even when things aren't going right. That's what separates average from wealthy. Not talent, not luck, mindset. So ask yourself, are you really thinking like a winner? Or are you thinking like someone who hopes things will just change? Hoping doesn't build wealth. Wishing doesn't create success. Action does. Ownership does. Discipline does. Focus does. You've got to become the kind of person who refuses to lose, not because losing is impossible, but because giving up isn't on the table. Millionaire thinking is rooted in choice. You choose how you think, you choose how you act, you choose how you respond to problems, and the more you choose the hard road now, the easier your life becomes later. But if you keep choosing easy now, comfort, distraction, laziness, your life will get hard. That's the cost. You either pay the price of growth now or the price of regret later, but there is no way around the cost. You decide. So stop treating success like a game of luck. Stop telling yourself maybe. Start thinking like winning is your only real option. Because once your mind accepts that, your actions follow. Your discipline changes, your habits shift, and one day you look around and realize you don't think like the rest anymore. You think like a winner, and that's the real key to wealth. Chapter 2. Build a mindset that makes you unstoppable daily. If you want to be someone who rises no matter what, someone who keeps pushing even when things go wrong, you must build a mindset that's stronger than your problems. Not once, not sometimes, every single day. That kind of mindset doesn't come from hoping things go well. It comes from choosing to be solid when life throws you the opposite. When most people break, you get sharper. When others complain, you find solutions. That is the foundation of being unstoppable. You can't control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you respond. and your response is shaped by the way you think. Weak minds react fast and regret later. Strong minds pause, reflect, and move forward with clarity. That's what you want to build, an inner core that doesn't shake easily, an attitude that doesn't quit just because something feels uncomfortable. Too many people waste their time trying to look strong on the outside while staying weak on the inside. That doesn't last. You need to develop mental habits that sharpen your focus, grow your patience, and build your resilience. And you need to do that daily. Not when you feel like it, not when things are easy, every single day. Because life doesn't ask how you feel, life just keeps moving. And if you want to stay ahead, your mindset must move faster than Start your day with clear intentions. Don't wake up and fall into whatever comes at you. Decide how you want to show up. Decide how you want to respond to pressure. Decide what kind of person you're becoming. If you don't decide, life will decide for you. People will drag you into distractions. Time will slip. Goals will fade. And all of it will happen silently, without warning. An unstoppable mindset is built through small moments that look invisible to the world, but matter deeply to your growth. Choosing to keep going when no one is watching. Choosing discipline over comfort. Choosing to work on yourself even when you're tired. These moments add up, and when they do, they build a version of you that doesn't fold under stress. You have to remind yourself that pain is part of the path. Being uncomfortable is not a reason to stop, it's a reason to keep going. If you only move when it's convenient, you're not growing, you're stalling. The people who achieve big things aren't always the smartest or most talented. They're just the ones who keep showing up when others stop. They build habits that make effort automatic. They don't ask, "Do I feel like it today?" They ask, "What must be done today?" Your daily mindset must come from clarity. You must be clear about who you are and who you are not. If you keep changing your identity based on how the day goes, you'll never be consistent. And consistency is the foundation of real power. It doesn't matter how hard you work once in a while. It matters how strong you are when nobody's cheering for you. That's what makes you unstoppable. Not the praise, not the outcome, but your ability to move forward without external validation. You must also be careful who you spend time with. The people around you can shape your thoughts without you even noticing. If you're always around people who complain, blame, or play small, their mindset will rub off on you. You'll start lowering your standards just to fit in. That's dangerous. An unstoppable mind protects itself. It doesn't feed off negative energy. It doesn't lower itself to please others. It chooses to stay aligned with truth and discipline even when it feels lonely. You don't need everyone to understand your path. You just need to understand why you're on it. When you build a strong mindset, you stop begging for permission. You stop explaining yourself. You stop trying to get everyone to support you. You realize that not everyone's meant to go with you, and that's okay, because your mission is bigger than their opinions. It's also important to develop self-awareness. You can't grow if you don't know what's holding you back. Take time to reflect on your thoughts. Are they helping you grow or keeping you stuck? Are you making decisions from strength or fear? Are you facing challenges or running from them? These questions are not always comfortable, but they are necessary. Growth starts when you stop lying to yourself, when you stop avoiding the truth about your habits, your patterns, your thinking. You become unstoppable when you stop being at war with your own mind. Too many people live in a constant mental battle, doubting, fearing, hesitating. They think too much but do too little. They listen to fear instead of facts. They let the past decide their future, That cycle ends when you build a mindset that works for you. You also need mental stamina. That means not getting thrown off by every delay or difficulty. When you're building something valuable, your health, your business, your life, it will take time. And during that time, you'll face moments that test you, days when nothing works, people who disappoint you, plans that fall apart. You can't collapse every time that happens. You have to stay grounded. You have to say, this won't break me. This will make me better. And that doesn't come from luck or motivation. It comes from practice. It comes from how you train your mind every morning. It comes from what you tell yourself when no one else is around. Are you speaking strength into your mind, or are you feeding doubt? Your words matter. Your thoughts matter. What you focus on gets stronger. Start noticing your thoughts. Interrupt the ones that keep you small. Replace them with thoughts that build your strength. This isn't about lying to yourself. It's about building yourself. It's about telling the truth even when it's hard, then choosing to do better anyway. Your mindset should be your anchor, not your weakness. When the day gets hard, your mind should remind you that you've handled worse, that you've grown, that you've built discipline, that you've earned the right to keep going. That's what makes you unstoppable. Not because life gets easier, but because you get stronger. And you do that by living with intention. You don't drift. You don't wake up just to survive the day. You lead the day. You command it. You set your goals and protect them. You do the work, whether it's exciting or boring. You show up, whether someone claps or no one cares. That is what separates people who win from people who keep wishing. Don't wait until life forces you to change. Choose to get stronger now. Choose to sharpen your thoughts. Choose to be the kind of person who keeps pushing, keeps growing, keeps rising. Not once, not sometimes, every single day. You don't need more motivation. You need a better mindset. And the only way to build it is to show up and do the work. Mentally, physically, emotionally. The rewards don't come instantly, but they come. And when they do, you won't be surprised. You'll be ready. Because you built it. You earned it. You became it. That's what makes you unstoppable. Not talk, not hype. Action, consistency, discipline, mindset. And that starts today. Chapter 3. Drop old excuses and get serious about results. If you want to move your life forward, if you're tired of staying stuck, then you need to stop making excuses and start owning everything in front of you. No more stories, no more blaming the past, no more pointing fingers. Excuses don't build progress. Excuses don't get you results. You either do what needs to be done, or you stay where you are. That's the reality. And until you accept that, nothing changes. You can keep saying someday, or you can wake up and get serious about what you really want. But you can't do both. Excuses are comfortable. They feel safe. They protect your ego. They give you something to fall back on when you don't get results. But the truth is, they steal your time. They waste your energy. And most of all, they keep you small. Every excuse you hold on to is a brick in the wall between you and your goals. You think you're buying time, but you're losing it. You think you're playing it smart, but you're slowing down your own life. Every single day you delay the work, the discipline, the responsibility, you're training yourself to tolerate less than you deserve. You have to stop waiting for the perfect time to start. You're not going to wake up one day suddenly full of motivation. You're not going to feel ready every morning. Growth doesn't ask for your feelings, it demands your commitment. People who get things done aren't perfect, they're focused. They're honest about their flaws, and they work through them. They don't cover them up with reasons, they fix what needs to be fixed. You need that level of honesty. Brutal, clear, personal truth. What's stopping you is not your circumstances. It's your decision to keep giving power to your limitations. Think about how often you tell yourself a story. I'm too tired. I don't have time. It's just not the right moment. Those words are not facts. They're patterns that have formed over time from not pushing yourself far enough. And if you don't interrupt them, they become your identity. Before you know it, you're no longer someone with goals. You're just someone who talks about them. And talk doesn't change your life. Action does. The truth is, nobody is coming to push you. Nobody owes you success. The world is not waiting to hand you results. You have to claim them. You have to earn them. And that starts with dropping every excuse you've been holding on to. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need a perfect plan. You just need to start where you are and refuse to stop. That's how real change happens. Look at your habits. Look at how you spend your time. Be honest about how you speak to yourself. Are your actions pushing you closer to your goals or pulling you further away? If you want results, you've got to get uncomfortable. You've got to challenge your routines. You've got to wake up earlier, work harder, think clearer. There is no shortcut. And the sooner you stop pretending there is, the faster you grow. Every time you choose effort over excuses, you grow strong, not just physically, but mentally. You build resilience. You learn how to deal with problems without running from them. You learn how to stay committed when things get boring, when progress feels slow, when nobody is clapping for you. That's the mindset that leads to results. Not hype, not excitement, discipline, patience, consistency, doing the work whether or not it feels good. You have to stop comparing yourself to other people. Their path is not yours. Their timeline doesn't matter. What matters is whether you're doing what needs to be done in your life. Excuses often show up when you're looking too much at what everyone else is doing. You start feeling like you're behind, like you're not enough. But the truth is, you're not behind. You're just distracted. And distraction leads to inaction. Focus brings results. It sharpens your priorities. It reminds you why you started in the first place. Get clear on what you want. Don't keep changing your goals every week. Don't chase things just because they look good. Focus on what matters. What really matters. Not what's popular, not what's easy. What's necessary. Because that's what will shape your future. That's what will separate you from the crowd. Noise, not hype. Serious, grounded effort. Every day, whether it's convenient or not. There are going to be days when you feel like quitting. Days when everything seems too hard. That's when the old excuses will try to creep back in. That's when your mind will start negotiating with your goals. That's when you have to be stronger than your feelings. That's when you have to remind yourself that this is exactly the test you asked for. You asked to grow. You asked to level up. Now life is giving you that chance, but it won't hand it to you. You have to earn it. You have to show that you're serious. Results don't show up just because you wish for them. They show up because you got up every single day and did the work. Even when nobody noticed, even when nobody believed in you, even when you didn't believe in yourself. That's what it takes. You can't fake consistency. You can't fake self-respect. And if you're still explaining your lack of progress with the same excuses, then you're not serious yet. That's the hard truth. But here's the good news. You can change all of that right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, right now. You can choose to drop the story. You can choose to stop playing small. You can choose to take ownership of everything in your life and say, from this point forward, I take full responsibility. That shift alone will unlock a new level of energy, clarity, and strength you didn't even know you had. You don't need more chances, you need more commitment. You need to stop negotiating with your potential. Start making promises to yourself that you actually keep. Start doing the hard things first. Start being the person who follows through. You'll feel your self-worth rise. You'll feel your mind clear up. You'll stop doubting every decision, because you'll know you're finally walking the talk. When you drop the excuses, your life starts moving. You attract better opportunities because you're showing up differently. You create momentum because you're not waiting. You're working. And even when things go wrong, you stay grounded because your mind isn't built on stories. It's built on standards. Standards you set. Standards you live by. Standards that shape who you become. And don't worry about what other people think. Most people are too busy defending their own excuses to deal with yours. Stay focused on you. Stay focused on your discipline, on your daily progress, on your future. Talk less, do more. Prove it to yourself, not others. This is your life. You don't get to live it twice. So stop wasting time explaining why you haven't started. Stop listing reasons why it's not your fault. Stop leaning on anything that weakens your effort. The only way forward is through responsibility, through action, through showing up even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. So ask yourself this: are you serious about results, or are you still holding on to stories that keep you stuck? You can't have both. If you're ready to grow, if you're done staying in the same place year after year, then it's time to drop every excuse and go all in. The time for that is gone. Start now, do the work, stay with it, and make the results speak for you. Chapter 4. Move like someone who knows where they're going. If you want your life to change, you have to move like someone who already sees the destination, not like someone guessing their way forward, not like someone who's unsure. You move with direction when you've made a clear decision about where you want to go. You move with confidence when you've already committed to becoming someone better. People can feel when you're clear. They can see it in your actions, hear it in your words, notice it in how you carry yourself. There's no confusion. There's no hesitation. You walk, talk, and act like a person who knows what they're building. That kind of energy comes from clarity. And clarity doesn't happen by accident. You have to sit with yourself. You have to ask yourself real questions. What do I want from this life? What am I tired of tolerating? Who am I ready to become? These aren't questions for later. These are questions for now. You don't get answers if you don't ask. And if you don't know where you're going, every small obstacle will knock you off course. You'll second-guess every decision. You'll follow whatever looks good in the moment. That's how most people live. Lost in distraction, lacking direction, trying to feel progress but never seeing it. You can't build momentum if you keep changing directions. One day you want this, the next day something else. You keep starting over, you keep hesitating. That cycle doesn't create success. It creates confusion, and confusion kills progress. What creates success is clear, steady, consistent movement. Not rushed, not forced, but purposeful. You do the work because you already decided the outcome. You move like someone who's already counted the cost and said yes anyway. You don't need to be perfect to move with confidence. You just need to believe in what you're building. When you believe in your direction, you stop asking for permission. You stop needing applause. You stop waiting to feel ready. The direction becomes your anchor. You know where you're going, and that makes the work easier to commit to, even when it's boring, even when it's hard, even when nobody is watching. Most people are walking through life without direction. That's why they waste time. That's why they settle. That's why they tolerate less than they deserve. It's not because they don't have potential, it's because they haven't made a real decision yet. A decision to stop drifting, a decision to move forward, a decision to become someone that their future self will thank. When you move like someone who knows where they're going, you carry yourself with responsibility. You don't look for shortcuts. You don't expect anyone to save you. You understand that the results you want won't happen overnight, but they will happen if you keep doing the right things daily. You become the kind of person who doesn't just talk about change. You show it in your habits, in your mindset, in your consistency. Clarity. It's not about being louder, it's about being solid, quiet confidence. You don't have to prove anything. You don't need to argue. You let your behavior speak for you. You move with purpose. You stay out of the drama. You protect your energy. Because your time is not cheap anymore. Your goals are not optional anymore. You made a decision, and now your whole life follows that decision. That's how clarity feels. It brings peace. You're not pulled in 10 directions. You're not wondering what to do next. You already know. You plan your day, you guard your space, you keep your standards high. And the people who don't understand that don't belong around that. When you move with purpose, some people will distance themselves. Let them. That's part of the path. The old crowd can't follow the new direction. Don't slow down for anyone who's not growing with you, and that includes your thoughts. You can't afford to let your mind wander in the wrong direction every time something feels uncomfortable. You have to discipline your focus. You have to remind yourself why you started. You have to train your brain to stay steady when the results don't come fast. This is how you build mental toughness. You keep moving toward what matters, no matter what shows up along the way. People who know where they're going don't get distracted by things that don't align with their mission. They don't let one bad day turn into a bad week. They don't let people's opinions make them shrink. They don't lose momentum just because the situation feels different. That's what separates them. They've made a non-negotiable decision to keep going. They understand that their future depends on what they do today, not next month, not next year, today. That means you stop waiting for signs. You stop looking for validation. You stop acting like life owes you a perfect path. It doesn't. You create the path as you walk it, and the more you move, the more confident you become. Not because everything is going right, but because you trust yourself to keep going even when it's not. You've got to think about how you carry yourself through your day. Are you moving with urgency or just killing time? Are you focused or just busy? Are you planning or just reacting? These questions reveal your direction. If you're always reacting to what happens, you're not leading your life, you're following it. But when you plan your time, when you work your plan, when you protect your focus, you stop chasing everything and start building something. Direction gives you power, and that power compounds. The more focused you are, the faster your growth. You get better at solving problems. You get quicker at making decisions. You waste less energy on nonsense. You start to attract better opportunities because people can feel your focus. You don't even have to say much. People trust people who know where they're going. You become magnetic, not because of your words, but because of your consistency. That's the truth about success. It's not flashy, it's not exciting every day, but it's solid, it's steady, it's built by people who show up even when nobody's watching. It's built by people who know why they're doing what. That's what gives you the strength to keep going when it's not fun anymore, when the motivation fades, when the doubts get loud. Direction silences all of that. So stop acting like you're lost. Stop waiting to feel inspired. Stop moving like someone who's unsure. If you want your life to change, you've got to start owning your time, your focus, your behavior. You have to carry yourself like someone who's already decided, because when you move like that, life starts opening up for you. Not because it's easier, but because you're clearer. Clarity sharpens everything. It makes your decisions faster. It makes your routine stronger. It makes your discipline easier. You know what to say yes to. You know what to walk away from. You stop explaining yourself. You stop seeking permission. You start building something that lasts. So don't wait for everything to feel perfect. Don't wait for the path to be easy. Move anyway. Start anyway. Commit anyway. The answers come as you move. The strength grows as you show up. The confidence builds as you keep going. And before you know it, you're not just dreaming anymore, you're producing. Because you made the decision to move like someone who knows exactly where they're going. And now, nothing can stop you.
Chapter 5. Stop chasing comfort and start building real discipline. If you want to build a life that's solid, a life that holds up when things go wrong, then you need to stop chasing comfort. Comfort feels good in the short term, but it robs you in the long run. It makes you soft. It weakens your mind. It keeps you from becoming someone strong enough to handle success. Discipline is the opposite. Discipline is hard. Discipline is uncomfortable, but it builds something in you that nothing else can. It makes you sharp. It makes you consistent. It gives you the power to do what most people avoid. Most people live their entire lives looking for the easiest way. They want less resistance. They want fewer problems. They want shortcuts. But what they don't realize is that shortcuts cut out the very process that builds growth. You don't grow by avoiding hard things. You grow by doing them. You grow when you stop choosing what feels good and start doing what works. The path of growth is not built on comfort. It's built on structure, on discipline, on doing the right thing even when you don't feel like it. Comfort is a trap. It keeps you busy but never productive. It gives you just enough pleasure to make you think you're living, but deep down you know you're just coasting. And coasting never leads to excellence. If you keep choosing comfort, you will keep living the same life year after year, and nothing will change. Not your income, not your health, not your mindset. The people who rise are not the ones who feel the most motivated. They're the ones who train themselves to follow through, no matter how they feel. Discipline is not punishment. It's power. It's the ability to lead yourself. Most people are looking for someone to guide them, someone to hold them accountable, someone to check on their progress. But real freedom comes when you become that person for yourself, when you don't need to be reminded, when you don't wait to be pushed, when you decide that your standards are not negotiable anymore. You won't build that discipline overnight. It takes time. It takes practice. It takes failing and starting again. But the more you practice it, the stronger it gets. You start with small actions. You follow your schedule. You keep your promises. You do what you said you would do. It's not always exciting, but it's effective. And over time, you stop needing to feel motivated. You just show up, because it's who you are now. When you stop chasing comfort, you stop waiting for perfect conditions. You understand that nothing changes if you don't change. You stop saying, "I'll start tomorrow," and you start saying, "I begin now." That shift changes everything. You stop hoping and start acting. You stop talking and start doing. And as you do, you begin to build confidence. Not the kind of confidence that comes from compliments, but the kind that comes from showing up day after day, even when it's hard, even when it's boring, even when nobody notices. You have to start treating discipline like a non-negotiable part of your identity. Not something you try, not something you do once in a while, something you live by. It needs to be a core part of how you see yourself. Because once it's part of your identity, you stop debating with yourself. You stop giving yourself options. You stop asking, should I do this? And start saying, this is what I do. And discipline doesn't just affect one area of your life, it touches everything. When you build discipline in one part of your life, it leaks into the rest. You get better at managing your time. You become more focused. You stop overthinking. You start making decisions faster. You learn to say no to what doesn't serve you. That's what discipline gives you: control. Control over your emotions, control over your impulses, control over your future. Comfort, on the other hand, makes you reactive. You start living based on feelings. You do what feels easy. You avoid what feels hard. And that pattern keeps you stuck. It tricks you into thinking you have more time than you do. It delays the work. It lowers your standards. And before you know it, you're living a life far beneath what you're capable of. There's nothing wrong with rest, but there's a big difference between resting and escaping. Comfort becomes dangerous when it turns into escape, when you avoid the hard conversations, when you skip the workout, when you ignore your goals because they require effort. That's not rest. That's running. And the longer you run from discipline, the longer you run from growth. You don't build a strong life by running from what challenges you. You build it by facing those challenges head on. You wake up early. You stay committed. You put in the work. You do what needs to be done without looking for a way out. That's how you build something that lasts. That's how you build a version of yourself you can be proud of, not just when things are easy, but especially when they're not. And don't expect applause. Don't expect anyone to cheer for your discipline. Most people won't notice your consistency. They won't see the early mornings. They won't see the sacrifices. But the results will speak. Your life will change. Your mindset will shift. And you'll know deep down that you earned it. That you didn't rely on luck. That you didn't wait for permission. You built it with effort. With focus, with discipline. Start paying attention to how you use your time. Time is the most honest feedback you'll ever get. How you spend your time shows what you really value. If you say your goals matter, but your actions don't reflect that, it's not a goal, it's just a wish. Discipline starts with how you manage your hours, your energy, your attention. You don't need more time. You need to stop wasting the time you already have. Start training your mind to get stronger, not softer. Choose the hard thing first. Wake up when it's uncomfortable. Do the work without excuses. Stick to your plan even when nobody is checking on you. That's how you sharpen your edge. That's how you separate yourself from the crowd. Because most people won't do it. Most people won't stay consistent. Most people will choose comfort every time. But not you. You are not here to play small. You are not here to blend in. You are here to lead your life with purpose. And purpose requires sacrifice. It requires clarity. It requires discipline. If you want results, you can't keep doing what's easy. You have to choose what's necessary. And most of the time that will mean doing the thing you don't feel like doing. That's where growth happens. That's where strength is built. So stop asking for easier. Start asking for better. Start building habits that match your vision. Start holding yourself to a higher standard. Not just when it's convenient. Every day, show up like it matters, because it does. Your future is shaped by your discipline today, not your motivation, not your emotions, your discipline. And when you start living that way, everything changes. You stop doubting. You stop overthinking. You start moving with clarity. You start thinking with intention. You stop chasing comfort and start building a life that feels real, a life that feels earned, a life that makes you proud. That's the reward of discipline. That's the trade for consistency, and it's worth it. Every single time. Chapter 6. Think for yourself even when others doubt you. If you want to grow into someone strong, someone capable, someone who leads their own life, then you must learn to think for yourself even when people around you question your path. The truth is, not everyone will see what you see. Not everyone will understand your decisions. Some will doubt your direction simply because they don't have the courage to choose their own. And that's fine. It's not your job to convince everyone. It's your job to stay committed to your vision, even when no one claps for it. Most people live based on the approval of others. They say what sounds good, they do what's accepted, and they avoid anything that might make them look different. But if you want to build a meaningful life, you can't think like the crowd. You have to separate from opinions that limit you. You have to develop the ability to trust your judgment. That doesn't mean ignoring wise advice. It means knowing the difference between real wisdom and weak criticism. It means listening to yourself before looking for validation from people who aren't even where you want to be. Doubt from others is part of the journey. Sometimes it will be loud. Sometimes it will come from people you care about. But if you change course every time someone questions you, you'll never find your direction. You'll live bouncing from one opinion to the next, constantly reshaping yourself to fit the expectations of people who don't carry your goals, don't live your reality, and don't understand what drives you. Thinking for yourself takes courage. It means standing alone at times. It means getting used to silence. It means being okay when others don't understand your decisions. But that's the cost of growth. That's the cost of clarity. When you stop looking for agreement, you start finding your power. You start moving based on truth instead of comfort. You stop explaining your every move and start owning your choices fully. When you begin trusting your own mind, you stop needing constant reassurance. You don't over-explain. You don't beg people to believe in you. You simply walk your path. You know why you're doing what you're doing. And that's enough. And that inner strength, it's built. It doesn't appear by accident. It's formed through experience, through discipline, through daily decisions to trust your direction over distractions. People will doubt you because they're used to who you were, not who you're becoming. They'll question your changes. They'll label you different. And in a world that wants you to fit in, thinking independently feels risky. But playing small to make others comfortable is a trap. You don't owe anyone a version of yourself that stays stuck just so they can feel okay about their own hesitation. You have to be willing to outgrow people. Not with arrogance, but with quiet strength. You don't stop thinking big just because someone else chose to settle. You don't lower your pace to match their comfort zone. Growth requires you to let go of familiar patterns, and that includes relationships that only survive when you stay the same. When you think for yourself, you begin to ask better questions. Instead of asking what's popular, you ask what's right for you. Instead of asking what others expect, you ask what you value. That shift changes everything. It shapes how you use your time, who you give your energy to, and what you build with your life. You stop drifting, and you start designing. You have to build a mindset that doesn't get shaken by outside noise. People will always have something to say, but if you let every voice affect your direction, you'll stay in circles. You'll lose your focus. You'll forget why you started. Independent thinking means you stay grounded in the middle of noise. You don't react emotionally to opinions. You don't panic when you face resistance. You remain steady because you know what you're doing and why you're doing it. You need time alone to sharpen your thinking. Solitude is not loneliness, it's clarity. It's the space where you can ask yourself real questions without interruption. It's where you learn to trust your own judgment. You can't find your voice if you're always surrounded by the opinions of others. Step back, reflect, write things down, sit with your thoughts. Learn what you actually believe, not what you've been told to believe. This world is full of distractions. It rewards loud voices and fast choices. But real growth comes from depth, not noise. You have to dig deeper than surface advice. You have to be willing to challenge the things you've accepted blindly. Ask yourself, does this belief serve my growth or limit it? That's how you learn to think clearly. That's how you protect your mind from influence that doesn't belong there. Most people doubt what they don't understand. If they haven't seen someone build what you're building, they'll assume it's impossible. But that's not your problem to solve. You're not here to be understood. You're here to be real. You're here to lead your life with strength. And that requires thinking for yourself no matter what they say. When you make your thinking stronger, your emotions follow. You don't overreact to criticism. You don't take everything personally. You develop self-control. You learn how to listen without letting everything sink in. You evaluate what's useful and discard the rest. That's mental strength. That's leadership. That's what keeps you clear when things around you feel unstable. Don't fall into the trap of proving yourself to people who have no idea what it takes to be you. The more energy you spend explaining yourself, the less energy you have to build. Let your life be the proof. Let your discipline speak louder than your words. Let your peace be the answer. When you know what you're doing, you don't have to shout about it. You just do the work. Train yourself to stay focused on your path. You don't need every detail to be perfect. You need to move forward. You need to believe that your steps are leading somewhere, even when nobody else can see it yet. And when doubt shows up, don't fight it with fear. Respond with action. Respond with consistency. Keep showing up. Keep refining. Keep trusting. This isn't about ignoring advice. It's about learning who to listen to. Take guidance from people who've been where you want to go. People who have results. People who understand your hunger. But even then, filter it through your own values. Learn to think critically. Learn to ask why. Learn to ask how. That's how you grow into someone who leads, not someone who follows blindly. The world doesn't need more people who fit in. It needs people who think with strength, act with clarity, and live with intention. That starts with you. That starts with choosing to think for yourself, even when it's uncomfortable, even when it's not popular, even when others think you're wrong. You were not made to live based on fear. You were made to lead yourself with purpose. And once you stop depending on the outside world to tell you who you are, you start becoming someone who walks with power. Someone who doesn't flinch when people doubt them. Someone who keeps moving anyway. That's how you build a life that stands firm. Because it's built on real thinking, on deep self-trust, on choices that come from who you truly are. And once you find that kind of strength, you never need approval again. Chapter 7. Create a mindset that refuses to stay broke. If you're tired of being stuck, tired of struggling, tired of watching life pass you by while others seem to move forward, then you need to create a mindset that refuses to stay broke. This has nothing to do with luck and everything to do with how you think. Being broke is not just about money, it's about habits, about beliefs, about standards. You don't rise by wishing for more. You rise by thinking like someone who's already decided that staying broke is not an option anymore. That decision has to live in your mind long before it shows up in your bank account. You can't keep thinking like a victim and expect to live like a leader. Broke thinking is full of excuses, complaints, and blame. It keeps waiting for a lucky break. It looks at problems and walks away. It avoids hard truths. It makes people comfortable with low standards. And the longer you stay in that mindset, the more normal it starts to feel. You start accepting less. You start settling. You start thinking maybe this is just how life is supposed to be. But it's not. And deep down you know that. A mindset that refuses to stay broke is not loud, it's disciplined. It doesn't try to impress people, it's focused on improvement. It doesn't chase what's easy, it builds what's lasting. You have to train yourself to think in terms of ownership. Everything in your life is your responsibility. Your finances, your habits, your time, your energy. You stop waiting to be rescued and you start building a system around your goals. You can't fix anything in your life if you keep lying to yourself about why it's not working. The money's not coming in. Look at your skills. Look at your decisions. Look at how you spend your hours. Be honest. Are you learning every day? Are you managing your time or wasting it? Are you avoiding responsibility or owning it? That kind of honesty is uncomfortable, but it's where freedom begins. You have to stop making broke thinking acceptable. Stop saying things like, "I'm not good with money," or "that's just how I've always been." You're not stuck. You're just repeating patterns you haven't challenged. Change begins the moment you stop protecting your old habits. Every time you make an excuse for why things aren't better, you make it harder to grow. You need to create new rules in your mind. You need to tell yourself, "I don't live like that anymore. I don't think like that anymore. I don't settle for average anymore." You start seeing opportunity when you change your perspective. The same situation that looks like a wall to one person looks like a door to someone else. Broke mindsets only see problems. Wealth mindsets look for solutions. Broke mindsets chase instant pleasure. Wealth mindsets delay gratification for a bigger future. And that difference plays out every day. In the small decisions. What you read, who you talk to, how you manage your time, how you handle pressure, how you speak to yourself. Start by raising your standards. Stop living like your time is free. Stop treating your attention like it doesn't matter. Every time you waste an hour, you steal from your future. Every time you avoid doing what you know needs to be done, you push your goals further away. A wealthy mind doesn't allow that. It protects its focus. It guards its energy. It chooses purpose over comfort. Every time. If you want more, you have to become more. More skilled, more focused, more disciplined, more aware. You can't keep thinking that success is something that just happens to people. Success is built, and it's built by people who've trained their mind to reject the idea of staying stuck. You have to tell yourself daily, "I'm not staying here. I don't accept this level of thinking. I don't accept this level of discipline. I don't accept this level of income." You also have to stop thinking that money is evil, or that rich people are just lucky, or that success is for others, but not for you. Those beliefs are dangerous. They might sound harmless, but they poison your drive. You'll never attract what you resent. You'll never build what you don't believe you deserve. You need to fix your relationship with money. Money is a tool, nothing more. It amplifies who you are. It gives you options. It gives you leverage. And if you think like someone who respects money, you'll learn how to earn it, keep it, and grow it. But that takes work. Mental work. Discipline. Repetition. You can't just get motivated once and expect everything to change. You need to reprogram your thinking every day. That's what a wealthy mindset does. It feeds itself the right thoughts. It studies. It observes. It applies. It makes no room for mental laziness. You've got to be sharp. You've got to be aware of what pulls you off track, and you've got to cut those things out fast. Build routines that reflect your new standards. Wake up with purpose. Plan your time. Keep your promises. Save what you earn. Invest in yourself. Learn every day. These are not just tips. They're necessary. And the more you do them, the more your mind shifts. You'll start seeing yourself as someone who wins. Someone who produces. Someone who doesn't accept a life of struggle. And don't expect it to be easy. A broke mindset is loud. It will try to pull you back. It will say things like you're too tired, or you've already done enough today, or what's the point? That voice gets weaker every time you ignore it, every time you push through it, every time you choose discipline over comfort. That voice loses power, until one day it's not the loudest voice in the room anymore. Your new mindset takes over, and it's stronger, clearer, focused. You become unstoppable, not because life gets easier, but because you stop thinking like someone who quits. You stop needing everything to go right. You stop blaming the economy, your past, your circumstances. You take all that energy, and you use it to grow, to act, to shift, to produce. You stop tolerating what drains you. You start feeding what drives you. Look at your environment. Does it support your goals? Do the people around you challenge you or comfort your excuses? Are your daily habits built for growth or built for survival? You can't rise in a space that encourages you to stay the same. Sometimes creating a mindset that refuses to stay broke means walking away from what's familiar, from people, from routines, from distractions. And that's tough, but necessary. Success demands your attention. It demands sacrifice. It demands that you stop playing small. You have to see yourself as someone capable of more. You have to believe it before you feel it. And then you act like it. You carry yourself with urgency. You stop making soft choices. You stop wasting minutes. You start living like your future depends on what you do right now, because it does. You have everything it takes to rise. But only if you make that internal shift. Only if you stop waiting for perfect timing. Only if you let go of old thinking. The person who stays broke is not unlucky. They're just undisciplined. The person who rises is not special. They're just committed. It's not about where you start. It's about how you think. So build that mindset. Feed it. Defend it. Rebuild it every day. Decide once and for all. I'm done living the same year over and over. I'm done letting fear control me. I'm done accepting lack. And once that decision is made, everything else falls into place. The work, the growth, the results. Because your mind is finally working for you, not against you. And from there, nothing can stop you. Chapter 8. Act daily like your future is being watched. Every action you take today is shaping the life you'll live tomorrow. Every choice, every habit, every small decision is being recorded by your future. Whether you realize it or not, your future is being built right now, brick by brick, day by day. Most people go through life acting like nothing they do matters. They treat each day like it's just another one to get through. But if you could see your future watching, if you could hear the version of yourself 5 years from now asking you to push harder, to be sharper, to show up with more intention, you would act different. When you wake up in the morning and feel tired, when you feel like skipping the work, when you think you can delay your growth for another day, ask yourself one question: what would my future self think if they were watching me right now? Because they are. The life you want to live doesn't arrive by luck. It's created by the steps you take when nobody is watching. The version of you that is focused, successful, disciplined, calm, and powerful is counting on you to act like every hour matters. Because it does. We live in a world where it's easy to hide behind distractions, easy to stay busy but not productive, easy to look active without building anything meaningful. That's why most people stay stuck. Not because they don't want more, but because they've trained themselves to act like their daily choices carry no weight. That mindset is dangerous. It teaches you to waste time. It teaches you to settle. It makes you believe that effort can be skipped and success can be copied. But it can't. There is no cheat code for growth. You either take full ownership of your time or you get owned by regret. Discipline is not about doing big things once in a while. It's about doing the right things every single day, and the right things often feel ordinary. Waking up early, planning your day, saying no to distractions, staying consistent. These are not flashy, but they're necessary. Because your future isn't created in one moment. It's created through a series of decisions stacked on top of each other. Decisions that compound. Decisions that show up as habits. Decisions that shape who you become. Imagine waking up every morning and treating the day like it's being recorded. Imagine knowing that every small move you make is being reviewed by the person you are becoming. Would you waste time? Would you delay your goals? Would you scroll for hours and call it rest? Or would you sharpen your focus? Would you take your health, your learning, your money, and your purpose seriously? That mindset changes everything. It keeps you accountable. It keeps you grounded. It keeps you hungry. This isn't about fear. It's about clarity. When you see the connection between your present and your future, you stop making soft decisions. You stop putting things off. You stop hoping that results will just show up. Instead, you take your life into your own hands. You decide that how you show up today is more important than how you feel about it. You commit to action even when it's uncomfortable. The world will give you 100 ways to waste your day. But your future doesn't care about that. Your future cares about how many times you chose growth over comfort. How many times you stayed focused when it was easier to drift. How many times you said, "I don't feel like it, but I'll do it anyway." That's the kind of effort that builds a future worth living in. You have to stop treating today like it's not connected to where you want to go. You have to act with urgency, not panic, not pressure, but purpose. Real purpose, the kind that makes you get up with a clear mind, the kind that makes you keep promises to yourself, the kind that turns discipline into a non-negotiable. Your actions today are not just about surviving the moment, they are about building trust with yourself. Every time you say you'll do something and follow through, your confidence grows. Every time you push through resistance instead of giving in to it, your mental strength expands. That's how you create a life that's not just good, it's exceptional. Not because of a big break, but because of daily choices stacked with discipline. You have to stop thinking in short bursts. Stop living week to week. Start thinking in years. Start acting like what you're doing right now will echo in your life for the next decade. Because it will. The small things matter. How you eat, how you speak, what you read, who you spend time with, how you spend your first hour after waking up. These choices either push you forward or pull you back. They either sharpen your focus or drain it. And you don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. You just need to stop making excuses for not giving your best. You just need to stop pretending like your time doesn't matter. You know it does. Deep down, you already know what needs to be done. You're not confused. You're just resisting the discomfort. But every time you push through that resistance, you build a different life. You become someone who acts with intention, someone who doesn't need to be reminded, someone who doesn't rely on motivation. If you want your future to be stronger, smarter, richer, calmer, and more fulfilled, then you need to start doing the work now, before it feels good, before anyone claps, before anyone understands. That's how results are created. Not when the pressure is high, but when you choose to rise without needing a crisis. That's leadership. That's maturity. That's power. Your future self isn't hoping for luck. They're hoping you stop wasting time. They're hoping you stop selling yourself short. They're hoping you stop settling for comfort and start building something that matters. They're not asking for perfection. They're asking for consistency. They're asking you to stop quitting early. They're asking you to stop giving up when it gets tough. You've got to lead your life like someone is depending on you because someone is. That future version of you. That version who's counting on your current self to stay locked in. Every day you cut corners, you delay your progress. Every day you follow through, you speed it up. That's the difference between a good life and a great one. The difference between regret and pride. So from now on, act like your future is watching. Because it is. And it will reward you based on your discipline, your patience, your focus, and your refusal to waste another day. That's how you build a future that makes all the hard days worth it. That's how you grow into someone who doesn't just dream but delivers. Because you didn't just think about change, you lived it. Daily, relentlessly, unapologetically, on purpose. Chapter 9. Say what you mean, and mean what you do. If you want people to take you seriously, if you want to feel confident in your own skin, and if you want to build a life that means something, then you have to start saying what you mean and meaning what you do. That kind of integrity is rare today. Most people say one thing and do another. They talk about goals but don't follow through. They make promises they don't intend to keep. They build their reputation on empty words and wonder why their results stay the same. That's not strength. That's not discipline. That's not leadership. If your words don't carry weight, your actions never will. You don't build trust by being perfect. You build it by being consistent. When you say something, you follow through, not just for others but for yourself. The way you talk to others is one thing. The way you talk to yourself is everything. If you keep telling yourself you're going to change, but you don't back it with action, you lose respect for your own voice. Your own mind stops believing you. And once that happens, your confidence drops. Your energy fades. Your momentum dies, not because you don't want more, but because you've trained yourself to break your own word. There's a kind of power that comes from alignment. When your words match your actions, people know who you are. You know who you are. You stop living in confusion. You stop having to explain yourself. Your reputation speaks first. You carry yourself with clarity, and clarity cuts through the noise. It doesn't shout. It doesn't beg for attention. It simply proves itself over time. That's the kind of person you want to be. The kind that doesn't overpromise. The kind that doesn't underdeliver. The kind that lives in truth, not performance. You've got to take your words seriously. If you say you'll be somewhere, show up. If you say you'll get something done, finish it. If you commit to a goal, follow through. Not just when it's easy. Not just when you feel motivated. Especially when it's boring, when it's tiring, when no one's watching. That's when it counts. That's when you prove whether your words mean anything or not. When you speak with purpose, people listen, but that purpose has to be earned. You can't fake it. You can't talk big and act small. You can't sell discipline and live in excuses. People see through that. And more importantly, so do you. You can't hide from yourself. You know when you're being honest. You know when you're avoiding effort. You know when you're letting comfort win. And if you're tired of that feeling, if you're tired of being one person in your words and another in your habits, then it's time to draw a line. You don't have to be perfect to be powerful, but you do have to be honest. Speak with intention. Say less. Do more. Don't say it unless you mean it. Don't commit unless you're ready to carry the weight. This applies to every area: your goals, your relationships, your business, your health, everything. Because how you do one thing is how you do everything. If you lie to yourself in the small things, you'll quit in the big things. That's how discipline breaks down. Quietly, slowly, one broken promise at a time. You build integrity in the small moments. When you say you'll wake up early, and you do. When you say you'll finish the task, and you push through. When you say you'll avoid the distraction, and you stay focused. These aren't just habits. These are proof. Proof that your word matters. Proof that your actions are rooted in values, not emotions. Don't make your words cheap. Don't throw out promises just to feel good. Don't say yes to things you don't plan to finish. That kind of behavior creates chaos. In your life, in your relationships, in your results. You don't need to please everyone. You need to honor your standards. Speak clearly. Set boundaries. Say no when you mean no. And when you say yes, back it with your full effort. That's where strength comes from clean decisions, from real follow-through. There's nothing wrong with adjusting your path. Life changes. Goals shift. But don't confuse adjustment with avoidance. Don't use change as a way to escape effort. If something matters to you, commit to it. Don't talk about it endlessly. Don't post about it for attention. Do the work. Live the habits. Grow through the discomfort. And let the results speak for you. You will face pressure to pretend, to act like you have it all figured out. To say what people want to hear. Resist that. You don't owe anyone a performance. You owe yourself the truth. Speak with clarity, not perfection. And then live in a way that matches your message. That's how you build a strong life. Not from noise. From truth. From discipline. From walking your talk every single day. People remember how you made them feel, but they also remember if they could count on you. Are you the kind of person whose words carry weight? Are you the kind of person who means what they say? If not, that's where your work begins. You fix that by practicing honesty, by slowing down before you speak, by checking in with yourself before you commit. You don't need to say yes to everything. You need to say yes to what matters. And then follow through, like your future depends on it. Because it does. When your words and your actions are in sync, your life feels lighter. You stop carrying guilt. You stop hiding from responsibility. You walk into rooms with peace, because you know you're doing the work. You know you're not faking it. And that kind of internal peace can't be bought. It's earned. Through days of showing up, through hours of effort, through moments when quitting felt easy, but you chose strength instead. Build that life. Build that reputation. Speak with care. Act with courage. Don't just say it. Live it. Let your character be known by your consistency. Let your habits tell the story before your words do. And if you say you'll change, make sure your next action proves it. You don't need applause. You need alignment. And when you live that way, day after day, you won't need to convince anyone of who you are. You'll already be living it. Chapter 10. Become the person you needed 5 years ago. Think back to who you were 5 years ago. Think about what you were going through, what kept you up at night, what you were unsure about, and what kind of direction you were craving. Now ask yourself honestly, have you become the person that version of you desperately needed? Or have you stayed close to who you were, repeating the same patterns, holding on to the same doubts, dragging along the same excuses? Growth is not just about going forward, it's about rising high enough to look back and say, that version of me didn't go through all that for nothing. You don't grow just to escape your past. You grow to make peace with it. You grow to give it meaning. You grow to be able to say, I turned that confusion into clarity, that pain into power, that delay into discipline. Becoming the person you needed means you no longer wait to be rescued. It means you take responsibility for your life and decide to be the guide you never had, the example you used to look for in others. 5 years ago, maybe you were lost. Maybe you were unsure. Maybe you were surrounded by noise and pulled in every direction. Maybe nobody was telling you the truth. Maybe you needed someone to remind you that you weren't broken, you were just undisciplined. That you weren't behind, you were just distracted. That you weren't powerless, you were just disconnected from your habits. If you had someone back then to speak to you with clarity, with strength, with zero sugarcoating, how much time would you have saved? That's who you need to become now, not just for others, but for yourself. Every time you build discipline, every time you follow through, every time you choose strength, when it's easier to stay weak, you're stepping into that role. You're stepping into the version of you that your past self would have looked up to. Not because you're perfect, but because you're clear. You're solid. You don't talk big and live small. You don't make promises and break them. You don't chase distractions. You build direction. Becoming the person you needed means you show up with the truth, not just emotion. You stop hiding behind potential. You stop waiting to feel ready. You start acting like every step forward matters, because it does. Your old self didn't need more comfort. Your old self needed structure, clarity, boundaries, honesty and strength. It needed someone who would say, you're not stuck, you're just not choosing growth yet. Now you know that. So now it's your job to live that. When you build new habits, you heal old patterns. You close the gap between who you were and who you're meant to be. You take everything you've learned and turn it into action, not just talk, real effort. You stop being at war with yourself. You stop repeating cycles. You stop making the same excuses you've already outgrown. You stop entertaining distractions that have already proven they don't serve you. This process requires reflection. You have to look at the version of you that struggled and say, what did I need that I didn't have? Then you go out and build it. If you needed discipline, you build it now. If you needed guidance, you study and apply. If you needed someone to hold you accountable, you become the kind of person who holds themselves accountable. That's maturity. That's growth. That's real progress. You're not just growing for today, you're growing to rewrite your story. You're growing so that 5 years from now, you won't look back with regret, you'll look back with gratitude. You'll see how every hard step was worth it. You'll see how showing up on the days you didn't feel like it made all the difference. You'll know deep down that you didn't just change your situation, you changed your identity. The person you needed 5 years ago wouldn't have made excuses. They would have taken charge. They would have pushed through. They would have been honest with you. So be that now. Be the voice that doesn't waver. Be the example that doesn't break. Be the action taker, the problem solver, the one who leads even in silence, because your younger self deserves that, and your future self will thank you for it. Stop waiting for life to slow down. It won't. Stop hoping people will understand your mission. They might not. Stop needing everything to be perfect before you start. It never will be. Start building yourself right now. Start talking to yourself like someone worth listening to. Start acting like everything you do today is shaping someone stronger tomorrow. There are people watching you right now who were where you were 5 years ago. They're looking for direction. They're looking for proof that it's possible to grow without shortcuts. You don't need to preach. You just need to live with integrity. Let your life speak for itself. Let your actions be louder than anything you say. That's the kind of influence that matters. That's how you become someone who changes more than just your own life. And don't forget the moments that broke you. Don't erase them. Use them. Use the mistakes. Use the missed chances. Use the time you wasted. Not as shame but as fuel. As reminders that you're not going back. That you've made a decision to move forward with intention. That you're building a version of yourself that isn't interested in repeating history, but in rewriting it. Becoming the person you needed means making hard decisions. It means saying no to things that steal your focus. It means setting higher standards for your time, your energy, your relationships, and your goals. It means removing anything that makes you smaller, even if it's familiar. You owe it to the person you were to outgrow everything that held you down. You don't need applause for this. You don't need a crowd cheering for your progress. All you need is the memory of the person you once were, and the clarity that you're not going back there. You're going to become someone unrecognizable to that old version of you, not because you changed everything overnight, but because you showed up every day with purpose. This is the moment you take full ownership of your journey. No more delay, no more halfway effort, no more watered-down goals. You know what you need to do. You know what matters. So live it. Lead it. Let your growth be a statement. Let your life prove that it's possible to go from confusion to clarity, from excuses to discipline, from hesitation to action. You're not just building success, you're becoming someone who carries meaning. Someone who walks with self-respect. Someone who doesn't need to explain themselves because their presence already speaks. That's the power of becoming who you needed. That's the reward for staying the course. That's the mindset that takes you further than motivation ever could. So make the decision now. Be the person you were searching for. Be the strength you once lacked. Be the leader you once needed. That's your mission. That's your responsibility. And that's the life that's waiting for you to step into it fully, without fear, without delay, without apology. Just all in. Focused. Clear. Real. That's how you close the chapter of the past and begin building something new, something that lasts.